Hello guys, today we are going to discuss getting started with HTML. As we all know, HTML is the foundation of every website. So it's very important skill. Yes, you have to know HTML. You have to get yourself familiar with HTML. So now what we are going to do is we are going to discuss getting started with HTML using Visual Studio Code and a short pictures which shows the structure of a website. Now, as you can see beside the right side of the window, we have the structure of the web of a typical web page. So the first thing you are going to see when you are dealing with when you are building a website, or the first thing you are going to work with, it is the header of the page. Then after the header of the page, you have your navigation bars. Most of the time, the navigation bars is almost reside in the header section of the page. So after the header, as you can see, after the header, we have nav, which is navigations. So that's a section whereby you can navigate towards any other part of your website. So after the navigations, we have the section. Yes, this is a section. This is a section of your page, or the section of the home page of your website. You have some things such as maybe images, maybe slides, and so on and so forth. These are the ones these are the elements you can find in a section. You also have article. Yes, how many of us are familiar with blogs? Yes, whenever you are dealing with blogs, you have articles, a set of articles listed. So this is another section of your page as well. Another important section of a typical web page is we have a site. As you can see, their site. Yes. And after their site, we have footer. Footer, a web page always have header and footer. So all these footer, we have some hyperlinks and copyright claims and all those things like that. That's private policy. It's located towards the downward part of the footer. And most of the time, might have newsletter, email newsletter, or review. All these review sections. If the review is not in the before the footer, you have it at their side section. So that is that on the structure of a web page. So now let's move on to the code aspect of it. So now I'm using comments to explain more on some sections of this tutorial. So what is comment? Comment is a set of statements included in on your codes to explain some certain parts of the code or what the code is doing. So that is the comment section, or anything you call comment inside a code won't be visible by the browser. The comment is there to explain more about a certain part of the code. So that's why I'm using comments, because it won't be visible in the browser. So what is HTML? HTML is a standard markup language for web pages. Yes, as you can see in the comments. So let me highlight this section so that you can see it very well. The standard markup language for web pages. And how HTML code look like? What you have to get yourself familiar with when dealing with HTML. You have HTML declaration. That's the first thing. Whenever you want to write any HTML code, you have to declare. That is to tell us that you want to write HTML code. And we have this certain different kind of versions for HTML, starting from HTML. I think starting from HTML 1 to we also have 4, we also have 5. So the HTML 5 is the latest HTML version, and that's the standard version which the web developers, which we are currently using when it comes to HTML. So this is the first one, which is doc type HTML. As you can see, This is my HTML declaration. That is, I'm telling the web browser or someone that, okay, I want to write HTML code. This is doc type, then followed by a small letter HTML. That would be in a tag. After the declaration, you have the HTML tag. This is it, HTML tag. Start with HTML tag. The HTML tag, we have a closing tag at the end of the day. Let's swipe the our this thing our code towards the end. You see it has closing tag. Oh, you have commented out this code. Okay, let me uncomment stuff. Let me check where the error lies. As you can see, the code that is being commented, we have a certain color different from the main code, which is green color. Yes, we're having a green color here. So let me erase this comment. As you can see, the green colors changed. So the green color changed to certain colors, which is white, blue. That is to tell you that this is the main code, it's not comment. So once you comment a code, everything that is commented won't be shown on the browser. For example, now let me comment this navbar side. I want to comment the navbar side. Now the comment starts with anchor tag, followed by exclamation mark, followed by two hyphen. As you can see, the color changed. That is, whenever you are running the code, whenever you are running it in the browser, the part which you commented won't be shown on the browser. And the thing is, most of the time, comment is also used to to check some some codes or some lines that maybe, okay, you have an error on your code and you want to check those where the errors lies. Whenever you use comment at a certain part of your code, the part won't be interpreted by the browser. Do you understand me? So if eventually that part is where the error lies, it won't be shown by the browser. That is, you will be able to detect that, oh, this side which you commented out is where the error lies. But when you remove the error, it will be able to run by the browser. So whenever you have error at some certain point of your code, everything will be shown on the browser. So that is another essence of comments. So now let's move on by explaining the page structure. So we have the after the HTML part, which is HTML tag, we have the head. So this head section, as you can see, I've written it in the comment. This is the head section. So what is this head? What's the essence of this head section? The head, this head contains certain informations about your page, which is useful to the search engine for optimization or to get more informations about the page. And we also have inside the head, we always have a title, which is a page title. As you can see, this is a page title which explains the which give us a short explanation or short information about the web page. So the page title goes here. So whenever what you want to name your page title will be inside the title tags. In the title tag, we always have open tag followed by ended by closing tag. As you can see, HTML is all about tags. Yes, HTML is all about tags. We have open tags. This is the open tag. The content goes here. The content goes in between. Then we have closing tags. So everything from the opening tag to the content to the elements, everything is called elements. To the closing tag, sorry, everything is called elements. From the open tag to the content to the closing tag, everything is called elements. So now, most of the time, after the title, another thing which you are going to find in a heading in a head of a page is what we call meta tags. So this so as time goes on, we are going to explain more about meta. So meta content and we also have meta title, all those things like that. We are going to explain more about it. But I just want to let us know that there are some certain tags which you find in head within the head tag, so that it won't be something like something new to you when we start to demystify or explain HTML tags in more details. So now we also have style. A style, we have HTML and CSS. HTML for creating content, CSS for presentation, that is to give your website an attractive look, to to position your element in a web page, to position it in a such a way that it would be uh, at the right place or at the right position on your web page, to give it attracting look, to format text, to give your HTML page backgrounds and attracting backgrounds. You know, all these things is done with CSS, cascading style sheets. It's also another programming language used in web development. So now, if you want to, so most of the time, sometimes CSS can stand alone as external files or can be included in your HTML code, HTML page. So most times, if you want to include HTML, if you want to include CSS code on HTML code, then you have to include it in the head section. This head section. So whenever you want to declare that, oh, this is CSS code and I want to include it in my HTML, then I will start with style tag, style type, style type, which is text slash CSS. Then I will give it a closing tag. As you can see, automatically the closing tag has been. So we have style type. So anything within the style, anything within the style opening tag to style closing tag will be CSS code. Let me write CSS code. This is how CSS code looks like. We have a selector. As time goes on, we explain more about this. This is HTML class. So we have a selector, CSS selector, and I will define the margin of the page to be 0 pixel. So this aesthetics in CSS means all the HTML elements. This style will be applied to all the HTML elements. That is, we are giving every element in our page the margin of 0 pixel. So we can give every element in our page a background color, a background color, a background color of red, or let's give it a style of red. Let's give it a color of red instead of background color, so that you see what I'm saying. So every element, every HTML element in this page will be applied. The style will be applied to every element. This aesthetics means applying a style to every element of your web page. So now let me save and let's run it in the browser. You see everything will be in red. That's it. I just want to show you the essence of what is it called? The essence of CSS. You see now everything, starting from the head to the bottom, everything will be in red format. What was this? Let me run it once again. Open file. Open file. Then this is it. Getting started. Let me open it with Google Chrome so that I see what I'm saying. Everything will be in red. Everything. Open with Google Chrome. So as you can see, every text over here is red. Do you see it? This is what I'm saying. So that's the essence of CSS. So now let's continue. I'm going to remove that red. Let me remove the red. So it's let me remove the red. So now let's check once again. You see, everything would be in its default color, which is black. So that is that. So that's that on CSS. So whenever you want to write a CSS code, the CSS code will be inside the head, will be inside the head parts of the HTML code. So that is that. So now we move on further. We move on further by, so we have explained the head. The head section, any code you write on the head section, it won't be visible by the browser. It won't be shown to you, to the user. But any other thing you write in the body section will be shown to the user, starting from header to footer. Yes, as you can see, everything here, header, section, nav, article, footer, aside, is on everything is on what is on the body, is within the body tag. Yes, everything is within the body tag. So now let's move on. So the body section, this is the header section. So as you can see in the HTML structure, the structure started with header. So whenever you are trying to build or you are trying to code a particular web page from scratch, you start with header. So starting with header tag, then after the header tag, what you are going to find in the header tag most of the time is the logo. Yes, whenever you're writing a page, you have a logo, particular logo of your website, maybe located at the top left corner of the header section of your page. So now the image tag. Yes, do you see the what is it called? The comment, which is the image tag. So the first thing is to include your logo. If you want to include a logo, logo is an image. Let me just make the example. Let's use logo.jpg. So now logo is an image, and to include a logo or an image into your HTML or into your code, you have to use image tag. Yes, when you are dealing with HTML, we have image tag. So the image tag started with an open anchor tag, then the image, you write the img for image, you short it. You don't write the image full in whenever you are dealing with HTML, you write img. Then after the img space src, that is the source where the file is located. If the file is located in the same place, if the image file is located at the same location with the HTML file, which is this file we are into, you write the name of the file directly, logo.jpg. If the image file is located in another folder different from the folder which you have your HTML code, you have to refer to that folder. Maybe you go out of this folder, this HTML folder, using two dots, and you use slash. Maybe the image file is located in the image folder, you put in the image folder, then after that you write slash, then followed by logo.jpg, that is the name of the file. So all these things is called paths. Yes, the source. Then the source attribute, there are something we call the attribute in HTML. We explain in more details later on. So this source attribute will be directed towards the file path. Yes, the file path. You have to specify the file path of the image. Then after specifying the file path of the image, then the class. You give it a class, maybe class of logo. We also have another HTML attribute called alt. So the essence of this alt is whenever the image did not load immediately when you are on your page, The thing you see first is the alt, that is to explain the image. Maybe you are having a network, maybe you're having network issue, or the page couldn't load faster. Then you see the alt. The alt section will describe the image. Is, oh, this particular image contains the image of a cat. Then you'll be able to know what the image entails. So that's the essence of the alt. So now the next one is the nav bar section. Yes, as you can see, this is the structure of the page. After the header, you have a navigation section. This navigation contains links, some links, hyperlinks, which helps you to navigate or move from certain section of your page to another. You can have hyperlinks, you can have buttons which direct you to other section of your page. So we have hyperlinks. So these are the hyperlink listed. Might be in horizontal or it might be in vertical form. Yes. So we have nav list, home. We have the home. This is a link. We have service. We have about us. We have contact us. And there is one thing which I supposed to add here, which is the anchor tag. Yes, whenever you are making a link, it's not all these things I mentioned. All these things now they are not linked yet because it's not clickable. Whenever you click it, you won't be redirected to any part of your page. But to specify that this is a link, you have to make you have to enclose it with anchor tag. So anchor, I've used an anchor tag which is a a href. The href is telling us, so the href is used is an attribute used to tell us where you want the certain this where you want the link to be redirected to whenever you click on the link. So now let's say the href home or index.jpg, index.html, sorry, the html, that is the extension, the file extension, index.html. So now I will close it with closing anchor tag. So that is that. So now it's now a link. You do it for other section as well. Do it for other section. Service, see with the service, use anchor tag a href service.html, service.html. Then you close it. Then you close it. So that is that. Oh, I think I've omitted something, which is the double quotes. So now that is that on the navigation section of your page. You can have as many navigations as you want. So this one is another navigation. As you can see, we have two nav uh, we have two nav section here. This is one and this is two. So I want you to note something as well. Most of our in our code, what we have been using, which is the attribute we have been using, is class. Then you see class attributes and you see ID attributes. You explain more about that as time goes on. And we also have section. Yes. So after the header part, we move on to the section. As you can see in the page structure, can you see this? So now we continue after building the header tag, we continue with the section tag. That is the section tag which denotes that you're starting another section of your web page. Header is a section of a page on its own. You also have another section which is maybe you want to start with the content of the page. Header is a Web element is an element that is uniform in a web page. Yes, in web pages of your website. Yes, the header, the particular header of your own page will be an header for service, will be an header for about us, will be an header for what again? So any other section of your page, any other part of your page will have the same header, we have uniform header. But the content might be different. Most of the time they are different. Yes. So you are starting a new content now, a fresh content after after building the header. Then start the section is equal to section class. Let me use class is equal to content. You know the essence of that tag as time goes as you know the essence of class as time goes on. So now the content, then inside the content we have div class. That is, we are defining a block within that class. Div means we are defining a block. Then the class has then the block has a class name of content block. Yes. You can name it anything you like. You can name the class anything you like. So starting with image src, let's say you are building a blog. You start with the content with what? Image src, the image and the source of that file, the file source of the image. That is, you are specifying the file path or the name of that image. Then the class is equal to content image. As you are telling us that this image is the image of is it represent the content of the image. It represent the what? The content section of the page. So we also have article. Article within the article we have headlines. If the website is a news or blog site, you have headlines. That is the headline which explain the content of the page. That okay, this this content deals with this, so and so on. As we all know, what's going on now is Israel. A light. There is a fire outbreak in Israel, Jerusalem. You can just see. For the sake of this, let's say you are writing is a news website. See, fire outbreak in Israel. Fire outbreak in Israel. Fire outbreak in Israel. Since you are telling us the headline, that is, you want to write the content, but before you move on to the content, you are telling us the headline or the title of that content. So after moving on to the title, now to make the title, you you are going to use heading tag. We have HTML heading tag starting from H1, H2, H3, H4, H5 to H6. So now after writing the title, then the content goes here. It is this P denotes P paragraph. The P denotes paragraph. So now anything you want to write here, then you write the content within the paragraph, inside the paragraph tag. Anything you want to write, you write it inside the paragraph tag. And mind you, the H2 will be highlighted. Bold by default, the heading will be highlighted very bold compared to the description, which is the P tag. So now that is that on article section. So these are the things you might likely use within the article tag. As you can see, the image, I might use an image. Then after the image, I will explain the title. Then after the title, the content. So that is that on article. We also have sidebar. Yes, we have sidebar, as you can see. As you can see, the structure of the page, we have sidebar, which is their side. So anything inside the sidebar will be at the right section. At the right section, that is aside. It might be at the left section of the page or at the right, but be aside. It won't be positioned in the middle of the web page. So that is that on aside uh, section of your page. So use aside tag. So after the aside, in the aside section, there are some elements, there are some common elements you can find in their side section. If it is an e-commerce website, their side might be the review aspects, or if it is what's it called? Uh I don't know. Well, if it is e-commerce website, most of the time their site almost has review section. Do you get me? And if it is a blog site as well, you always have at the end of the article, or at the end of the content, we have a section whereby users will be able to 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 drop their opinion. So all these users' opinion or visitors' opinion will be at their side section. If you are using a landscape, what is it called? A landscape device such as a personal computer, you see their side section. So now, after their side section, we have a footer. Yes, we have footer. So most of the time, whenever you are building a website, you have a footer. The footer sections has different kind of elements such as newsletter, email newsletter, copyright, privacy policy, and so on and so forth. This footer section contains some links as well, such as site maps and so on and so forth, or the what's it called, or social media handles. So all these things are being specified in the footer section. So the footer section. So that is that on the structure of a typical web page. So that is that on HTML structure.